This is my homework rewards, and we are going to be doing a question today for grade 8 math from the Pearson Math Makes Sense, chapter 8.4. And this question is about the diagonal of a prism. So our question here is, what is the length of the diagonal in this rectangular prism? So it's good that it gives us this visual. We can see exactly what a diagonal means. It means going from one corner of the prism to the opposite corner, and it goes right through the middle of the prism. And that's what we can see by this line and this little d. You have to imagine this is in 3D here. So if we want to find out the length, we need to know a couple of things. We can see that we have straight lines, okay, and we can kind of picture, okay, we've been doing Pythagorean theorem, so we're probably going to need to use it for this. So Pythagorean theorem, as we know, is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And what that tells us is that the squares of two sides of a right triangle, so there's my 90-degree angle, is going to give me summed, so added together, it's going to give me the length of the hypotenuse, which is the longest side here. So if I look at this, I can use Pythagorean theorem to find out the length of my diagonal. So I'm going to have to do two things here. So my first thing is, if I look at my prism here, you can see this diagonal goes from this corner down to this front corner. So it's going from back to front. So I'm given these dimensions, 8 high, 12 long, and 9 deep. So if I want to find my length of my diagonal, I'm going to want to picture that inside of this is a triangle that goes like that. That's a straight line that goes like that. And this is a right triangle. It's going from the back across the middle of the bottom and up through the prism. So what am I going to need so that I can find that d, which would be the same as c in our Pythagorean theorem? Well, I'm going to need to know the length of this bottom, and I'm going to change that to be red. I want to know the length of this bottom, and I need to know the height of this as well. Something easy that's already given to me is the height. So I know the height of my rectangular prism is 8, so I can just transfer that over. I'm going to take this triangle and put it here. This is the main triangle we want to solve. So we already know it is 8 centimeters high. I'm just going to take out my units just for simplicity, but I'll put them back in my answer. I know it's all in centimeters. I'm not doing any unit conversions. So I have my 8 high, and now to use my Pythagorean theorem, I need one more along the bottom. And that's not given to me. So what I need to do is I need to look in my triangle, and I can see in my prism, and I have another triangle I can use right across here. Okay, right on the flat bottom is another triangle that I'm going to draw right here. Now, this hypotenuse of this triangle is the base of our tall triangle. Okay, so I'm actually going to change that. So this triangle here is this one across the bottom that I'm just making. Now it's a right triangle because it's a rectangular prism. So I have 12 and I have 9. Even though it's not 9 here, I know that my rectangular prism is 9 centimeters deep. So if it's 9 centimeters labeled here, it's the same on that side. It's not shrinking at all. So now I know that this triangle is 12 centimeters across the bottom, 9 centimeters high. Now I can use my Pythagorean theorem to find the length of my hypotenuse. Okay, so that is going to give me c squared, which the c is just the side length, the hypotenuse of that triangle on the inside. So back to this, Our 9 squared we want to evaluate first. So we remember that when we square a number, it just means multiplying it by itself. So I'm just doing 9 times 9, which is 81. And it really helps if you know your squares, so you can do this fast without needing a calculator. But if you need a calculator, that's okay too. So 9 squared is 81, and 12 squared, I know that it's 12 times 12. That is 144. So that is going to give me c squared. Okay, so then I'm going to add those together. And 81 plus 144 is going to give me 225, which is my c squared, which if I want to find out what only c is, this is just c squared. So my side length is not 225. That's way too big. This is where I need to know the opposite of squared. So let's just go over here for a little side note. Okay, so if I have a number, say, let's go with 4. If 4 was c squared, then something times itself is 4. Well, I know that's 2. But another way to do this is to use square root. And if I square root a number, if I do the square root of 4, it gives me just c. It'll give me just the answer, which is 2. So to find this, I need to know what the square root of 225 is. And that's going to give me just c. So notice when I square root, I don't have the squared anymore. It gets rid of that. So 225 square rooted, that's 15. So I know now that 15 is c. So on my blue triangle now, I can input 15 for my bottom, which is bottom across here, if you can see on my prism. Now I want to do my Pythagorean theorem with these numbers, 15 and 8, and that will give me the length of my diagonal. So let's just go down here. Let's just remember it's 15 and 8. Okay, so 8 squared plus 15 squared is going to give me, let's say d, because it is d in the picture, squared. Okay, so 8 squared is 64. I know what 15 squared is because I just found it right here. So I can just write that right down, 225. I don't need a calculator if it's right on my page already. Try to find tricks to save yourself time. So 64 plus 225 is going to give me 289. It's my d squared. Okay, and then as again, I want to square root that. So square root of 289 is going to give me my d. Okay, and then if I put that into a calculator, I know it's going to be more than 15 because of 225 square rooted is 15. So it's going to be more, but I'm going to put it in a calculator and it's going to give me 17. So that means that my final answer is going to be the length of the diagonal, and I would write out a full sentence if you're handing this in for marks, is 17 centimeters. And that is your answer. Hope you enjoyed this video. For more practice and lessons, check out myhomeworkrewards.com. Thanks for watching.